Hi everyone, my name is Devika and welcome to my channel Little Tarot Goddess. Thank you so much for all the love and support so far. I have been able to read well for people and it gives me great pleasure to know that I can help people out using my tarot skills. So this week I thought that I would like to explain a little bit about tarot, the cards, the system, how it works, and why people do it. So you must have heard about a number of systems such as astrology, numerology, palmistry. These have all been ways that people have used since ancient times to try to understand nature, themselves, and their situations better so that they could solve their problems faster or more efficiently and emerge relatively unscathed from the issues that they've dealt with. So, tarot is also one such system, although it works a little differently. So, tarot has been around for many years, centuries, and in fact, it has been a part of many cultures in various forms. Even today, for example, flipping a coin and taking a chance is a way of letting coincidence help you make decisions, right? So, tarot is just a slightly more complicated form of that. So, tarot cards consist of a set of 78 cards. These cards are fixed in their meanings, although the way the cards are drawn and painted may sometimes imply more or less based on the art. Although this is the artist's point of view and also the reader's point of view as to what is visible in the picture in relation to the question asked and the situation at hand. So, tarot is basically a question answer based system. Don't worry, it's not an examination and there are no points lost for wrong answers because there are no wrong answers. So, if you're stuck somewhere, then you can always ask tarot questions that will help you solve your problems. So, tarot for me is more of a guidance tool than a prediction tool. So, when you ask a question, I always like to ask questions that can give me deeper answers. So, instead of asking a yes or no question, such as, will I get the job? I prefer to ask a question such as, how can I make myself more attractive to employers? And with the help of cards, I can interpret the cards in a way that will give me an answer which will make sense to the question, and therefore it will help me change or better my approach to the problem that I'm having of not finding a job. Now, the 78 cards are divided into sets of two. You have the minor arcana cards and the major arcana cards. The minor arcana cards consist of four suits, and they have cards from ace to 10 and court cards. Sounds familiar, isn't it? Actually, it sounds a lot like playing cards. It is very similar. One key difference being that there are not three court cards as in playing cards, but four. So in tarot, you have a page, a knight, a queen, and a king. So each suit consists of 14 cards, and the suits are also different. So here we have the pentacles, the wands, the cups, and the swords. And each of these cards from ace to 10 are a part of a cycle. And the numbers ace to 10 take you through a cycle and tell you a story. So if there is a card coming out from a particular suit, then it is also representing a phase or a time period in the cycle of that suit's story. The court cards often represent people. So somebody who is, for example, very intelligent, always uses the head, is the kind of a mad genius, but often is not a very emotional person, then such a person could be the King of Swords. Because the element of air is associated with the suit of swords, and that the king of such a suit, or the king of the element of air, is often associated with such qualities. Now that was the minor arcana. Then we come to the major arcana. Now major arcana consists of 22 cards, and these 22 cards are numbered 0 to 21, and they often have more deeper spiritual lessons. So it's not just the everyday life that you see, but it really makes you ask yourself, am I doing this right in my life? And it will always give you lessons that you need to adapt, or the cycle, or you have to go to a point in the cycle where you're supposed to be, where you are not yet. So that is the major arcana for you. These cards are more challenging to read because there are so many takeaways from them. And overall, when a question is asked, we shuffle these cards, we spread them out, and depending on where and when which card appears in the spread, it is the job of a tarot reader to interpret these cards for you and try to give you some guidance. And that is the process of tarot, or rather reading of tarot cards. Now what I also find really beautiful, for which I am personally very grateful for, is to be able to appreciate art. I have always considered myself a bit of a skeptic when it comes to art, because I've never really felt a connection with art before. But as I have started looking at tarot decks, I'm so fascinated by the so many kinds of decks out there. So there are 78 cards. There are always 78 cards, but they're always presented so differently that it's amazing. I just want to give you one example. So here we have the first card of the tarot, the Fool. This is from my Crystal Visions tarot. And the Fool here is a nice lady surrounded by butterflies waiting to walk off a ledge. This is my Sun and Moon tarot. Here also you have a young man who is about to walk off a cliff. But what is fascinating in this case, for example, is that here the sun is bright and shining, whereas here the sun is hidden behind the clouds. So in a reading, a subtle difference like this could make a whole lot of difference actually. And that is why it is so fascinating to study the decks and their meanings. And they often say that if you got that card of that deck read for you, then it is your fate. Actually, it's just like going back to that coin. That was the coincidence. So this is what I do. This is the process of tarot reading. To me, knowing that the cards are a part of a cycle, understanding that it is not just about predicting something, but it is about understanding oneself and really accepting oneself as they are and trying to improve what needs to be improved. And last but not the least, I find that every card represents a lesson or a situation in which each of us have already been. And because of that, this is something real. It is tangible. And then for me, it's all about just getting a push in the right direction when I feel like I don't know where I should be going. And that's about my tarot practice. So I hope you enjoyed that. Do leave me feedback. And then this week, I decided to just do a very spontaneous weekly reflection. Such a cute box, with my Wildwood Tarot, since we are talking about the tarot cards. And just so you know, when I talk about oracle cards, Oracle cards are also systems that are representative of, I mean, they're also card reading systems, better put, but they are independent systems. Whereas tarot is extremely common, there are many artists with many decks out there who, yeah, give different meanings to the same cards. It's quite an amazing world out there, because many people that I know are also tarot deck collectors, and vintage decks are often like antiques, so they can be sold in the market for a high price. And I think what fascinates me the most is the number of amazing artists out there who can be so creative with just one concept over and over. And yeah, it's an amazing world, and I'm very grateful to have discovered it. So let's see what card we have for today. Ooh, Four of Arrows, rest. So as we see, this man, it's not that he has directly been shot, and that is what is so fascinating about this card. He's just lying there, and it's as if these arrows have been deliberately put in place so that he doesn't move and he takes rest. So this week, I think the cards are asking us to consider if there is something that we need a break from. What do you need a break from? Think about it. I think this card is a very good card actually, because the fours also represent stability. And this week then it's going to be about thinking about relaxing, resting, taking some time off the routine, and yeah, just giving yourself a break. I think on that note, I'm going to be giving myself a break. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you have any questions, please write to me anytime. And I'm also reading, so if you want your cards, or if you want the cards to be read for you, then please write to me and I will be very happy to do a reading for you. So on that note, I wish you a restful week and I will see you again next week here. Until then, bye bye.